But just a few days into 2023 and the stats of quite a whirlwind year are finally out. And as it turns out, 2022 was definitely the year to remember. Joining me now to comment on some of those figures is meteorologist Rob Sharpe. Rob, good to see you in 2023. It turns out 2022 was the wettest year since 2012. Why?
It was because we had La Nina in force at both the start of the year and at the end of the year, producing extra rainfall. But it wasn't our only climate driver. We also had a couple of other climate drivers in play at times, including the negative Indian Ocean dipole, which is essentially the Indian Ocean's version of La Nina, also enhancing that wet weather across the country. So yeah, it ended up being a pretty wet year for much of the country. Every state and territory was wetter than usual, except for Tasmania.
Interesting. And New South Wales witnessed quite interesting times during 2022 as well. It's seen its wettest year since 1950. I mean, why do you think so?
Yeah, that was the record year, in fact, and it's partly due to that La Nina event and the negative IOD event. Essentially, spring in particular was very wet, but it also had the impact of the East Coast lows back in February and March, and also during the winter time, leading to very heavy coastal falls. So Sydney, for example, seeing its wettest year on record. So lots of facets playing into this, but it was a remarkable year for New South Wales, and for many people, it was a devastating year as well.
It's interesting though, Rob, because almost every other state or territory was warmer and wetter on average all across. Doesn't that kind of sound a bit contradictory in a way?
That's right, because normally if you have a wetter than usual season, historically speaking, it's also a cooler than usual season. And for pretty much every state and territory, it was wetter than usual, but all states and territories were warmer than average, and it was only really New South Wales that was pretty much bang on average for temperatures through 2022. So you could still see that global warming trend impacting Australia's weather with that warmer than usual weather despite all of the rainfall.
Thank you, Rob.